Hello, I'm Horceror. I want to find out what makes every single killer tick. There's one big glaring issue with that though. I play the Nemesis, essentially only the Nemesis. I physically cannot get thousands of hours of experience on every single character. So, I'm going to be interviewing people that do have those thousands of hours. One for every single killer. Welcome to Stars of the Fog. Alright, hello, and welcome back to Stars of the Fog. This is going to be our 6th episode here, and we're going to be covering Michael Myers, The Shape. So, my guest here, who are you? Would you like to introduce yourself, your credentials, everything you're known for?
I am JGDarhk, and I'm a Twitch streamer, mostly DbD, but very much into horror, and known for such things as locker standoffs with Michael Myers and cosplays as well.
Any notable cosplays? I assume you've done the Myers himself, of course.
Oh yeah, I've done 78 Myers. I've done Halloween Kills Myers, 2018 Myers, Pantsless Myers.
Oh, okay.
Like most of the notable. I've done Michael Meowers. That's quite the collection.
So, big cosplayer, big Halloween fan, and big Myers player in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I love Michael. I love Michael in the game so much.
I'm glad to hear it, and you know, like I'm sure it's like a 50-50 on whether or not it's going to be what did it, but what got you into Dead by Daylight, and when did you start?
I started, I would say probably a couple of months after Friday the 13th came out.
Friday the 13th?
Started, yeah, the game.
Yeah.
Like I started like a couple of months after. I had no idea what Dead by Daylight was at that point. I was playing Friday the 13th and met some friends through there, and we played a ton of that. And one of them was like, hey, like, you know, you try Dead by Daylight. So I pretty much got into it that way. Started out as a survivor main for about like a year or so.
All right.
And then pretty much ended up shifting over to killer.
And do you remember like who you started as and how long it took you before you became like a Myers main?
I would probably say when I started out, I shifted around to a couple of different survivors, but because being a horror fan, I gravitated towards Ash once he came out.
Classic, of course.
And yeah. And then when I started out as a killer, I started out and then I gravitated towards Bubba, and then eventually started doing more and more Myers, mostly out of requests, and then just sort of got used to it, and it just kind of evolved into what it is now.
So you'd say like you are a Halloween fan, but the main thing that drew you to him is just like viewer requests, really?
Yeah, initially. Yeah.
And when do you really feel like you got Myers? Like when do you feel like you understood Myers and like what he was all about, how to play him, all that?
Around the time, like I would probably say I had a request to do. I actually have a TikTok like of it where me dressed as Myers, and I was on RPD, and I wasn't running Tombstone, I wasn't running Infinite or anything like that. It was just like sort of like a massive snowball where I downed all 4 survivors in one tier 3.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how this works. So like pretty much just kind of really got into it after that.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So, you know, got a little bit of the power fix, got the 4K. I assume no one got out after that.
Oh, no.
So what would you say is like the number one thing you enjoy about them? Like tech, visual, sound, theme, like just anything at all? If you picked one thing about Michael Myers, what is the number one thing for you?
Versatility.
How so?
Because with him, I look at him as the most versatile killer, like in the game. Yeah. Because one different add-on changes the entire way you play them.
That is true.
Like entirely. Like if you're doing Scratch Mirror, you gotta play a way that accommodates that. If you're doing Tombstone, you gotta play a way that accommodates that as well. Like there's so much versatility there that goes in with every single add-on outside of Stalkfaster, like those add-ons and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
like, the big ones, like Tombstone Piece, Scratch Mirror, Vanity Mirror, like all those, like they're going to be gameplay defining, not just
Yes,
number
exactly.
increase.
Exactly.
As good a time as any. How do you feel about the killer add-ons? Like Myers is notably one that gets a little bit of flack for add-ons because Tombstone Piece. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So how do you feel they are, like, balance-wise, overtuned, undertuned, and what are your personal favorite ones?
I think right now, I think they're in a good spot for the most part. Tombstone Piece might be the most like that has an issue, if anything.
For sure.
Just because like pretty much now before he got all the buffs and everything with stalking, you might, if you really distribute your stalk, you might get 3 people max. Like with it now, I can almost freely go around stalk like pretty much everyone, and I can still 4K and tombstone everyone with Tombstone Piece because of how much stalk they've given them.
You can tombstone everybody with Tombstone Piece.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Like that's pretty much like something I was curious about, and I went into a bot lobby just to test it, and it was pretty easy to do.
So it's not even like hard to do now. It's just you can just get everyone.
No, now that's also assuming that because obviously still the stalk takes a while.
Yeah,
like if you're going against
lobby.
a competent team on like a indoor map or anything like that can constantly break line of sight, you're gonna get 1 or 2, but there's no guarantee that you're gonna get like more than that at that point.
Okay, gotcha. And what are your favorite add-ons to run?
Mine, I do love running Tombstone Piece. Scratch Mirror every now and again I can get into, but mostly Tombstone Piece, mostly because of the memes that I run with them. And they're like, to me, they're absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, like the locker standoff or
the locker standoffs, the lore accurate Myers were all 99 Tombstone Piece with Insidious. And I'll go into the Myers house and I'll just wait just inside the front door and let Insidious do its thing.
They didn't even knock,
wait for, yeah, they just like run in and instantly get killed, which is something I also do on Garden of Joy and the main building with the red room.
What if they go in the back door though?
I've had that happen once, and by the time they saw me, it was too late.
Well, Garden of Joy and Haddonfield, would those be your favorite maps, or what is your favorite map?
Just for those specific memes, like with those two.
Gotcha.
If I'm doing a locker standoff, Orman is my favorite.
Any
like
reason in particular?
The high ground that you get, whether it's the new map or the old or the current one that they have. If you ever see me do it on that map, I instantly go upstairs. And I'm on that little balcony area where I can see the other gens while I'm running corrupt. And if I can find someone that's not paying attention to what they're doing, but they're hopping on one of the gens, especially with Infinite Tombstone, I only need to drain 2 people.
Wow.
So if I can catch them with them not looking, I'm already in tier 3 before they finish 4 gens.
Wow. Okay. So it's like if they're not paying attention, they're in trouble if you get Ormond.
Oh, yeah.
And on the flip side of that, what is your least favorite map?
It depends on what I'm doing.
You can go
if I'm
through
doing
all of them if you want.
The worst pain that I feel right now is if I'm doing Scratch Mirror and I'm on Coldwind.
And you get outside, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's the worst pain. Like, because there's just like nothing you can do. You just automatically lose.
You get
like
sack-loaded or something, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I was hoping that when they did the Myers buffs, they kept his new base speed with Scratch Mirror, but they did revert it back to his original base tier 1 speed at I think it was 4.2.
Ooh. 105, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
and like his current one is like 4.4, which is not incredibly not incredibly like super fast, but with a Scratch Mirror game, it does make you a little bit more viable in chase.
Okay, that's good. At least that you have options for that type of thing.
Yeah, and like for like I would probably say Tombstone. I'm running Infinite Tombstone. Any indoor map is a pain. Any indoor, like
yeah, because you wouldn't get any sight lines to actually get your stock.
Yeah, because like Infinite Tombstone, you need that little bit of obliviousness, and you need that distance to get that the new quick speed that he gets from being far away stalking. If you're up close, it moves at so much of a snail's pace that you could be literally breathing down their neck in front of them, and they could just be working on the gen and not care if you grab them. If you try to drain them, they'll probably get 3 gens done by the time you even hit halfway to tier 3.
Oof. That's not super great, I'm not gonna lie to you. So you do seem to be like a guy that enjoys all of Myers' playstyle so far, but this is actually a very exciting question to ask you specifically, because how do you feel about Michael Myers' lore? Like, are you more of a lore head, or a playstyle guy, or a little bit of both?
I mean, with people like Michael Myers, yeah. Like you could ask me any of the original characters lore DbD, I wouldn't know anything about them like that. But like with characters like Michael Myers, Leatherface,
Oh yeah, I'm just asking
actual like
specifically
licensed
about,
characters.
like,
Yeah,
Michael.
like I very much into the lore, like with that.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Any like favorite moments, movie, anything you'd like to share? Because I've seen Halloween like once or twice, maybe. I know, fake horror fan, but like anything you'd want to share that you think is cool.
I mean, my favorite scene, like from any of the Halloween films, which probably a lot of Halloween purists will hate me for because they don't like the new trilogy at all. But pretty much the scene in Halloween Kills when Michael gets his mask taken off and he's chasing the person that has his mask, and she drops it in the street and sets a trap for him, and he goes to get the mask, and you just see all these like headlights coming on, and it's an angry mob ready to attack him, like almost like they're trying to intimidate him, and all he does is look to one side, look to the other, doesn't give them any emotion, goes down, picks up the mask and puts it on, and everything happens after that.
Sounds
like
pretty cool.
It's one of the best Halloween scenes, I think, in the franchise, like in general.
All right. I mean, I'm probably gonna go look it up and perceive it for myself after this. So
I definitely recommend it.
all right.
Like I've always been a massive horror fan, so like anything like that, like plus I've done a lot of like fan theory videos and stuff like that around lore, but with like particular franchises and movies, notably Friday the 13th, some Halloween. So like yeah, I'm very deep into that.
Okay. And just before I get us back on track, what was your first horror movie?
My first one that I can remember was either Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 or Return of the Living Dead.
So classics, gotcha. Ooh, cool. And you did bring this up a little bit when I asked about what you liked a lot, but I want to go the opposite direction and ask your least favorite thing about Myers.
Least favorite?
Anything at all, like tech, visual, sound, etc.
I would probably say like right now, because everything about him I love. Like as far as like move, like the way he moves, breathes, all that, like everything, all that I love. The only thing I would probably say that might be just a touch annoying, if anything, is the close-up stalk now. Like just because I know why Behavior did it, and with Infinite Tombstone and stuff like that, I totally get it. And I'm speaking from a selfish perspective, but like pretty much like it's like when I'm like, I feel like I'm 99 on Tombstone, and I'm like just like right there, and I get up close to try to like quick pop and then go, and realize it just moves a slight inch. Like if anything, like it's hardly no movement at all, and it gives them just enough time to like use whatever they need to use to get to a pallet, and it's like, oh, they would have been dead. Like almost.
So like while the buff sounded small, it is like it makes a difference for you.
Yeah, just for that. Like if I'm running just like flat out like just base Myers stalk to go to tier 3, that doesn't make a difference at all. But or Tombstone Piece doesn't really make a difference at all. Like with that, it's just how it feels with Infinite Tombstone specifically.
Because it's 300% slower. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
with I think with Infinite, it's like I think it's double with that, so it's like even worse with it.
I don't really play a lot of Myers. I got my achievements, and I was like, I'm good, Actually, it's not really a got 'em, but I can think of one thing you probably don't like about Myers.
What's that?
Cosmetic options.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I would love it, but I don't necessarily think it would be like, that would be like me like frothing at the mouth, like give me shortlet. Well, no, shortlets Myers. I think there should be some.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to ask, like, oh, do you think Myers has enough cosmetics? But I want to ask you specifically. Say you have, like, complete creative control, whatever you say goes. If you could get one cosmetic for Myers, what would you have made?
Halloween Kills. Like that would be my go-to immediately.
Not even
with the half-burnt mask, the burned and stabbed coveralls, the bleeding from the coveralls, and just like the overall tattered and battle weariness of it would be like so amazing.
Big Halloween Kills fan then.
Yeah.
Is that your number one?
My number one movie would be 2018.
Okay, gotcha. So you seem to be a pretty big fan of Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah.
How frequently do you run into fans or antis of Michael Myers? And how do you feel the community feels about Myers in general?
As far as like fans, most of my community's made up of Michael Myers fans. So I mean, I run into quite a lot of everyone just like wanting to be tombstoned by him, and I'm just like, you're in the right place. Overall, from my experience on things like Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and everything, I do perceive that a lot of people do not like Michael Myers, namely for his add-ons, which is, all that's like subjective. But the common thing that I see is they don't like Tombstone because they don't like the idea of not being hooked and killed and pretty much all that. They don't like Scratch Mirror because it has boring gameplay, because it more incentivizes hit and run instead of a flat out chase. And when I'm like looking, I'm hearing it all, which is, all the opinions are respected and everything. But with me, it's more so the versatility and the fear, especially Tombstone. Like, I love not knowing, like, if I'm playing straight up against a Michael and I don't know he has a Tombstone and he's chasing me, and I know he's like, it's taking him a while to hit tier 3, it brings such a sense of anxiety. That brings such a rush that you would expect a horror game to give. And you're just trying to make it to the next locker or pallet to get away. Exactly. And it's that kind of anxiety that I like. Like, I don't want it to be every killer you play like Trapper and everything. You just,
that would be just keep running.
Exactly. And that to me is what, on the survivor side, keeps me interested in DbD. On the killer side is more the memes, but like, it's on the survivor side, that versatility, having to play everyone different, especially something like Myers where you don't know what he's running. Like, the moment you pop in and you hear Myers or you hear breathing or anything, you're already checking to see who brought the map offering to see if it was him or not. So that way you have an idea of what he's doing and stuff like that.
So you definitely enjoy playing against Michael Myers.
Oh yeah. Like any stealth killer, really. Like, I love, just because I love that fear factor.
And yeah, I feel that though, because when I'm playing Survivor and I get a Myers, like, even if it's not a Tombstone, because, I'm a little ADHD, I don't pay attention all the time. So when I like zone back in and Myers is like an inch away from me and I'm like, oh Jesus, or like he jumps me around a corner because he was still tier 1 and I was just the first guy he found, and like Scratch Mirror in general, don't get me started, I have had like 6 heart attacks in one game because he just keeps jumping me.
That's why I love it. That's why I love it. Like, immediately I just like throw my controller, I'm done.
And I feel like I'm asking for it because I have TTV in my name, and they're like, oh, let's go jump this guy. I'm like, please, I just...
Then there's like other moments, like when I'm playing with like friends and we see that it's a Myers, and as soon as they like tear up, we'll stop what we're doing and we'll go hunt them down. Like, give me your Tombstone now.
Okay. So you're like the Mortimer Myers fans.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of, we got it right. We got a little bit of a roundabout way. Back on track. A very serious, very, very reasonable question. How would you rate Michael Myers in terms of strength, like on a tier list, and like why?
I'd probably say, like, while he has some strong tendencies, like if you're going against a really good team, then I don't think he has much of a chance outside if he has Tombstone. If he has Tombstone, then that kind of puts him on a much more higher level that can be threatening to much higher MMR players. But if it's just like base, like exposed, down, hook, and all that, then like relatively, like he can be strong if people are making mistakes. But if you're going against a team that's just always on point, there's not much you can do just with his base kit.
Yeah, because like he has an insta down, sure, and he has like faster vault and break speed, right?
Slightly.
And that's like it, you know?
Yeah.
Is even if he has insta down, he is at his core an M1 killer. Like he can't throw the knife at you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like even with his expose, he's essentially like trapper without traps.
Yeah,
just with an exposed status.
Yeah, so if they're paying attention, they know how to loop, they can communicate, etc. Like you're not really gonna have a great time regardless.
Oh yeah. Especially with particular strategies is normally with like, so at least from what I've seen with like Myers players is go as close to tier 3 as you can and smack someone down, throw them on hook and save the tier 3 for the rescuer and like go from there. So that way they go to rescue, you can tier 3 down the unhooker, and if the other person's trying to stick around that just got unhooked, then you can pretty much go after them. And like then you have 2 people on the ground, and that creates somewhat pressure. But
sure.
Ultimately, there's that scenario can be stifled very quickly.
Yeah, because a lot of perks, a lot of ways around that type of thing.
Oh yeah.
And just in general, so I'm sure you know the hot button issue, like the Go Next Epidemic type deal, but how often do you really get people like disconnecting or going next on hook against Myers?
DCs I've had a lot, but honestly not against Myers. Okay. Like I've had a couple DCs tonight where I think it was I tombstone someone and they DC'd.
That's a little funny.
But like it makes me laugh. The DCs in general make me laugh and just overall. But like to get tombstone in DC, I had one where I was going for a locker standoff, and my build is normally corrupt, deadlock, play with your food, and nowhere to hide.
Okay.
So I went to go kick a gen after downing someone, and I saw someone waiting by the hook I would have went to. Like they were crouched out trying to get a sabo.
A saboteur.
So so I just like went over there, tier 3, tombstone, dead. And like they DC'd in the process just because I saw them. But mostly my DCs come from Bubba. At least the last 2 months, I always had a counter of DCs just because I thought it was hilarious. These last 2 months, I've had my record broken, which was like 30 in 1 month, which is not something that happens often.
Oh, boy.
The last 2 months have been 40 plus for each month.
It's real interesting hearing someone that has a counter, because now I'm looking at mine like, oh geez, maybe I'm the problem. Let me actually open Nightbot real quick. Let's see what the number's at. Okay, so I want to say I started this after July last year. I don't remember the exact time because I didn't. Hindsight would have been smart to put a counter at a date. But since I started this command, I have had 529 DCs.
Oh, I don't even know my total. Let me see.
Yeah, but that's in like under half a year.
So yeah, like mine would have been on there for like at least like a year, because I think it was last year. There was a point in time where behavior turned off the DC penalties.
Yeah, I remember.
And because of that, like there was just people DC over and over and over. So I just called like December.
That's so funny, actually.
So that's when we set up the counter initially. And then it was pretty much for the most part just maybe a handful of DCs here and there. Never really went over like 20, maybe 25 in a month. And then I noticed November was like 43. And then I noticed December was like 45 just in those 2 months, like separately.
Was there like an event that caused that, or was it just people weren't feeling the holidays? And, just because it's really a translation here, what would you say is like the most frustrating part about playing against Myers? Not for you, because like you enjoy playing against them a lot, but just like in general for survivors, like they see Myers, what would be like, wow, I am not enjoying this type of thing?
I mean, because I could only speak from my perspective. Me, I enjoy everything. So like it's hard for me to see like anything like that. Now I know I have friends that don't enjoy it, and I can probably sort of echo what they say.
That's fine.
Like where if it's like scratch mirror, like again, they hate the hit and run thing. Like they feel like it's massively boring and frustrating to go against because it drags on the game because of how slow Myers is. They just want to be in a chase, at a constant chase, like until either all the gens are done or Myers downs. Like that's pretty much what they want. Or again, it goes back to Tombstone, where someone might feel that someone else fed the Myers, and then they just randomly pop up on them, and next thing you know, they're dead.
Yeah, I've had games.
Like those are the common things, I believe.
Yeah, I've had games where I die with under 1,000 blood points because I see him for the first time, he pops it, and I'm dead. I'm like, oh, okay.
I had someone tonight do a play that I never seen with the snowmen before. Granted, something probably to keep in mind for the next time they do the winter event. But I was chasing down a tap with Tombstone, like primed and ready to go. And I popped it. And as I was like getting close up to him to tombstone him, they just turned into a snowman. Just out of pretty much. And it was like, well, I either have to leave you or smack you out of the snowman, which also takes a stack of play with your food away from me. So I was like, that's pretty smart. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. Dude knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is really your type of thing, but how do you like feel about win streaks on Myers? And obviously, compared to other killers, like how easy do you think it would be? And do you personally enjoy win streaking?
I don't mind people like going for win streaks or anything like that. I don't mind win streaks in general. I treat it like I would look at it personally, like, you know, as long if you're having fun with it, have fun with it. Like my only thing is, you know, like if you win streaks going, don't take it out on anyone. You know, it's just It's over. Start another one, like move on from there. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. I it's not something for me. But, you know, I don't mind watching. I think I watched a few friends do some win streaks and everything.
On Myers?
With Myers specific. Yeah.
Holy moly. Do you know how high they got? I'm just curious now.
I'm pretty certain one got to like 30 or 40.
Oof.
Like somewhere around there.
Sheesh. And do you feel like compared to every other killer, Myers is an easy win streak killer to play?
Oh, gosh. Like, I think once you grasp what he's doing, because I know I have friends that also play him. Like one friend particularly, one Stalky Boy, like plays Myers.
Yep.
And is very good with him. And it just seems like he's just always like racking up wins like over and over and over. So I would imagine like you get someone like him on there, like it's probably he understands the character so much that you could probably take him pretty far.
You just need like in-depth knowledge. It's not just like I can pick him up right now and go on a 500 game win streak.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Like you might have that in mind just from being a Halloween fan, but then you get flashbanged one time and it's just like, oh
man,
this isn't gonna be easy.
Speaking of being easy and, you know, Myers being seen as, you know, an easy killer, would you say that there are any like super common misconceptions about Myers in general, or like things that you wish people understood? Like, say people are complaining about like whatever. Is there like some super obvious counterplay that's not being used usually?
I mean, most of the time I see people like even now people complain about Infinite Tombstone, not knowing pretty much what you have to do to get to that point. Like now, and even before it was like Myers had his changes and everything. A lot of people don't realize, you could even run into this today where people don't realize you could jump on totems to a counter tombstone. You can obviously jump into a locker, jump on a generator, and stuff like that. And the thing is a lot of these people don't want to be hooked. Like they want to try to escape with as few hooks as possible when they don't realize that if you're going against a Tombstone Myers, especially an infinite Tombstone Myers, if nobody gets killed by the time he pops tier 3, if you can force him to hook every single person and deny him Tombstone, that's the counterplay. You can almost 4-man out with that. Like it's
maybe like 3. If it's infinite Tombstone, I don't know about 4, but
I mean, it all depends because if
all the gens
you would
are done.
have to. Well, yeah, if all the gens are done, then yeah, I'm like that person's sitting down camping.
Yeah.
But that's also like, if people have the presence of mind to not pop that last generator to sort of try to get them away. But 9 times out of 10, if a Myers knows they're kind of losing in that sense, then they'll end up doing it. But also it depends on if they can sort of sneak around when Myers is putting someone on the hook and he's not like just staring them down, or try to take advantage of the anti-hook camp. Because if Myers is going to camp and that last gen's not done, he's got to either be far away or risk the anti-hook camp, pop the last gen, a dren might go off and that person gets distance and get a couple pallets to play with, and next thing you know, all 4 are running out together.
So it's much more like it's important to pay attention to your macro stay rather than just like, oh, okay, he's going to come kill me now. And, sometimes, just to TLDR it, sometimes a hook is better than just instantly dying.
Exactly. Like I had a game where it was just a masterful group of people that just denied Tombstone at every turn, to the point that they broke sight on me so much while trying to get to that point. I had to start hooking in order to slow things down, hooking and slugging, which ultimately didn't do much because once I popped it, they traded hooks so much because I was trying to defend the other gens, and they watched their spread of the gens. The gens were spread out very well around the map. Now, if you're in a 3-gen situation, then yeah, you're kind of fucked with that.
Yeah, I bring Deja Vu religiously because I don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, like with a Tombstone Myers, you're not doing too well in that. But it was just the perfect situation where they denied Tombstone at every turn. And because of the speed nerf you get with Tombstone, like even with Play With Your Food, you're still fast, but you're not like if you're running Tombstone Piece fast, where you're just zooming and everything.
How much slower is Myers with Tombstone over Tombstone Piece? Just I don't know. Off the top of my head.
I believe he drops down to almost scratch mirror speed.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Tombstone Piece, he stays at I think it's 4.6. I want to say.
Yeah. Okay. So 150.
So there's like no speed nerf with Tombstone Piece. So if I'm like running something like that, I can do 3 stacks of Play With Your Food and throw no ed on for funsies, and I can get 20% extra speed out of that almost.
Holy moly. And is there any let's say Lil Timmy, Halloween fan since whenever he watched it for the first time, hops on Dead by Daylight and he loves Michael Myers. What is like the general advice that you would give this guy to learn Myers?
Patience.
I hear that a lot.
Lots of patience. Lots of patience. Because I mean, even if you're doing like role playing, like with it and everything, Myers is inherently a patient killer.
Yeah.
So pretty much to take that into the game itself as well is probably for the best, because I mean, then you start understanding how the killer is at least engineered in the game to sort of mimic its movie counterpart. So that could allow you a little bit more to understand the character better.
Okay. So think like Myers.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds a little a little silly, but it's true. I mean, you gotta.
Oh yeah, like that's pretty much what I always say with like any of the licensed characters that you play, especially if you're fans of the IPs that some of them come from. Like, just act like you're the character. Just act like it. Like if you're a Bubba, give him a squeal every now and again. It's fine. Like, just go for it.
I actually went the opposite direction because I'm a Nemesis main, and I hadn't played any Resident Evils until I started playing Nemesis, and then I went backwards basically.
That's good though. Like, pretty much become a fan of the character and then check him out.
Yeah. Like, and then the only Resident Evil game with Nemesis in it that's like modern is like 2 hours long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the original one was like that too, though. It was like super short on the original PlayStation.
It's one day he'll get done justice. I'm not coping, I swear.
He'll be brought back eventually. They'll bring him back in a video game, hopefully, at some point. Like we'll get him and Lady D back.
All right, so just let's say Michael Myers. If you could change anything about the kit, about the balance, his vibe, like anything at all, just like one thing that you could change for the better or for the worse, I don't know. What would you change about him?
For his like current base kit,
Anything.
I would want his close stalk to match his far, because I think it would just make sense just to have 1-to-1 ratio. Like far, close, doesn't matter. The stalk is like, it's kind of like how Ghostface is. Like, doesn't really matter how far they are, how close they are. The stalk amount is still the same till exposure. And with Ghostface, obviously, if he's leaning, it's much faster.
Yeah.
Like, but with Myers, I would probably say like shouldn't matter one way or the other. What's his close, far away? Just give it I think it's like 1.0. They have his stalk from far away, and up close it's like 0.6.
Okay.
Like I pretty much just go 1-to-1 like on it. I think that would probably make him feel much better, especially for newer players as well. Other than that, like I said earlier, scratch mirror, like putting his base speed back up to 4.4 instead of nerfing it back down to what it was originally at 4.2.
And as they just like changed stock, and Myers that's like one of his first real like big updates over the years. So I was just gonna say, like, how do you feel about the changes and updates that Myers has gotten? Like, would you say that buffs and nerfs were fair in either direction?
Yeah, I think they were. Like, the only thing that I could probably say outside of the ones that already happened, like we just talked about, I would probably say from a balancing perspective, there should be, if anything, maybe a slight speed nerf on Tombstone Piece. But overall, I feel like a lot of the changes they made were really good for him.
Okay. And in a similar vein, just not like specifically on him, how would you feel the game has changed around him? Like perks, maps, reworks, etc.
I think overall it's like for the most part fine. I mean, obviously you got maps like the new Orman map what is it? The theater map that came out with the Unknown, where they have like just multitudes of pallets. Yeah. Where they have like multitudes of pallets, and some of them are like double palleted up and everything.
I do enjoy that loop.
Yeah. Like for someone like Myers, that can be an issue. But if you're running like Dracula or Unknown or Huntress or anything, then you're pretty much fine, like over there. But it's like with Myers, there's like certain maps are definitely a detriment to him, which would be nice if he had like maybe, I guess, a built-in like brutal in his tier 3, sort of like how Wraith is when he's cloaked, like just like smacking things quick and then moving on.
Does he not?
He does have it, but it's almost like if you put them side by side, it's like maybe a hair like more noticeable, but it's not like where you see like Wraith is just like pow pow and like just running or anything like that.
So it's not like brutal strength or anything. It's just like
it's just
technically, but
yeah, it's like a blink and you might miss it. Like that, it's like kind of maybe a half 0.2 seconds faster or something like that.
Okay. And my penultimate question is not really one about Michael Myers. but more of a overall thing for Dead by Daylight. How long do you think Dead by Daylight is going to last?
I think overall it could last a long time. I think just because of it sticking with the horror genre and everything, as long as it sticks with that, I think it will last for a very long time. Just because horror fans are some of the most loyal fans like out there.
For sure. Have
That
you seen how many sequels these things get?
If you look at like Friday the 13th, even when they stopped new content and stuff like that, how loyal people were to that game in general, which would have also still had a much higher like Steam player base if it wasn't filled with hackers and everything. As long as Dead by Daylight stays within that horror realm of things, I think they'll last for a long time. Like staying within that, trying, as like Matthew Cote said, trying to be the Hall of Fame of horror.
I can't even think of another contender for the Hall of Fame of horror.
Oh, definitely. That pretty much is like where they are combating, trying to like find the correct gameplay identity for the game. I think is where it's tough for them on that. And because they want it to be a competitive like ASM, you know, it's like something like you see with like I think there was a story or whatever that I saw where they tried to have an esports team and all that, and you have the comp scene.
Oh boy.
Like to me, that's not where Dead by Daylight thrives. Dead by Daylight thrives on its fans of horror in general. Like mixing all of these different IPs together. Where else can you get Nemesis on Silent Hill?
Yeah, and then like, hey guys, I'm playing the Nemesis on Silent Hill from Silent Hill, and I'm currently chasing Ashley J. Williams and Nicolas Cage. And like, there's so many. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, like for a second, like, holy cow, we have like so many licenses. Like we've got pretty much every single big one, you know, save Friday the 13th, of course, for now. And then it's crazy. Like, what do you mean the Xenomorph can kill Bill from Left 4 Dead? What?
And then like even expanding beyond that, Castlevania.
Yep.
Attack on Titan and all of that. Like it's crazy like how they can bring in like all of this and bring those fandoms over, like even with Five Nights at Freddy's like coming and all that.
DbD is gonna blow up when that drops.
Oh yeah, like I'm expecting quite a bit. I know people on Twitter weren't too happy with it because they're now like, well, now I'm gonna get trash talked by a 12-year-old, but it's fine. It's okay.
You're already getting trash talked by a 12-year-old, like
pretty much. But now I guess the chances are marginally higher.
Yeah, whatever. We just gotta be good to one another. That's all that matters.
Like me personally, I'm hoping for Terrifier to come in.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself.
Oh yeah.
Not really my style of movie. I'm sure you get that, but I know a lot of people would like to see him. So,
like I know a lot of people like I don't like they don't necessarily like it too much, but as far as like from a big horror fan, like seeing the meteoric rise of him, it's crazy because we haven't seen something like this since the 80s with Freddy, and it's like insane.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch his movies at all, but I respect it, you know?
Oh yeah.
All right, so my very last question, what would make you never play Myers again? What would make you drop him? Like a change or a new character from a license you've been waiting for years? Like anything at all? What would be final nail in the coffin?
It would be if they took away his versatility with his add-ons.
So like an add-on pass that just butchers him.
Yeah, like if Behavior came out tomorrow with patch notes, like, okay, Myers will no longer be able to kill you with Tombstone, and he will not be able to see you through walls with Scratch Mirror or Vanity Mirror anymore. If anything, and they change those to like, okay, he just talks faster now with all of those.
Yeah, it's always like removing his identity. That's why I like him, you know?
Yeah, like at that point, it's just like, well, I might as well go play someone else at that point. Yeah, pretty much. But that'd be the only thing. Like, I don't see pretty much like any character coming out that would make me stop playing them.
Maybe play him less, but
Yeah, it'd be just more variety, but that'll happen with any chapter that comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, yeah, I think if they because I even happened when they were talking about changing them before, I immediately thought that they were getting rid of Tombstone and Scratch Mirror.
I would
And
see
like,
them getting rid of like Tombstone Piece, but I don't think they'd get rid of Tombstone.
yeah, like that would have been fine. Like if they got rid of Tombstone Piece, that'd have been completely fine.
You'd be like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, especially with Tombstone Piece, because I mean, you do have the one thing that we call the Kobe Myers now, where pretty much 99 Tombstone, and if you want for funsies, you could just sit there in front of the hook.
And then you just
with the
kill them
face
once
cam
they
meter
do
going-
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but yeah, like other than that, if they just kept Scratch Mirror, Vanity, and regular Tombstone, that'd be fine. But I know a lot of people like hate all of those, so it's like I was expecting full on that they were just going to take those away and possibly give different effects, like maybe Tombstone now creates a deep wound or something. I have
so
no idea.
Boring though.
Exactly.
Hey guys, we're taking away something unique and adding a third deep wound killer. Heck yeah. Okay.
It seems to be
dude.
the pattern.
They're doing as of this recording, they're doing something with deep wound right now. We
I
don't know
saw
what
that.
yet. As
That
of
should
right
be
now,
interesting.
being the 6th of January 2025. I don't know when this video is gonna be out. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you here. I want to say, thank you for coming on my humble little Stars of the Fog series. Very cool.
Of course.
If you want to, I don't know, do you have anything that you're working on right now? Anything you want to share? You can say all your links where people can find you.
Pretty much, if anybody wants to find me, you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm on YouTube, mostly putting the same shorts up that I do on TikTok, like all of those things, because we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok here shortly.
Yeah.
So
maybe it'll have blown up by the time this video's up. Who knows?
Who knows? And of course on Twitch.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I hope you have a lovely morning, noon, evening, whatever it might be for you. And bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.